Hello there, you're now with me, Handy Gui, and welcome to your 5 p.m. English news on TVS. Let's dive into the headlines for today. Sarawak's path towards becoming a high-income state by 2030 will not be an easy task, as it needs hard work from everyone. Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg said, to achieve the target, Sarawak will have to double the size of its economy from 136 billion ringgit in 2019 to 282 billion ringgit in 2030.
It's not easy, but it entails hard work from everybody, the government, the business community, and the society at large. Meaning, Sarawak's economy needs to grow on average of 6 to 8% per annum. And our economic sector will have to focus on diversifying revenue streams, improving work efficiency, and enhancing productivity.
Under the State Post-COVID-19 Development Strategy 2030 PCDS 2030, the state government has identified key economic sectors and enablers to transform Sarawak's economic landscape. Abang Johari said under the plan, Sarawak will also emphasize diversifying its economy with a special focus on modernizing agriculture, strengthening infrastructure, advancing tourism, and accelerating human capital development.
This will open many opportunities for productive economic activities in both rural and urban areas, providing greater job and business opportunities to all, including SMEs. By participating in these opportunities, you will be able to benefit and contribute back to local economic growth, supporting Sarawak in its ambition to achieve 2030.
In a separate development, Abang Johari has called upon Sarawak Energy Berhad SEB to give equal chance to local vendors on mega projects. He added that as long as they constantly deliver quality work, local vendors who provide good service can establish cooperation with SEB wherever the energy company goes.
Then you can follow SEB wherever as we go, because you are the vendor and SEB has confidence in you. Assuming SEB goes to Kalimantan, surely SEB want the vendors to work with them. Of course, kalau Kalimantan terpaksa kerjasama dengan orang Indonesia lah. On joint venture basis, meaning SME in Sarawak can have a joint venture with Indonesia to provide services that is required if SEB is the equity partner in a project outside Sarawak. And this is how Petronas also grow their own vendors. I think Datuk Wino, the CEO kita tahu hal itu. Then if you are consistent and you are very diligent in terms of managing your businesses, I'm sure you also can grow big.
Adding to that, the Premier of Sarawak said local vendors could also establish joint ventures abroad, such as with Indonesia, provided that SEB is made an equity partner in projects outside Sarawak too. He stressed that in order for SEB vendors to grow big, they must be consistent and diligent in managing their businesses.
Sarawak aspires to continue to achieve more sustainable growth and prosperity through affordable, reliable and renewable energy, and the Sarawak government will provide support and promote public-private collaboration in the renewable energy value chain. And this will ensure ample opportunities for our local vendors and contractors to engage with the energy industry.
Meanwhile, In an increasing business landscape emphasizing on digitalization, the renewable energy sector continues to play an important role in supporting other industries. Therefore, under the post-COVID-19 development strategy plan, Sarawak aims to maintain at least 60% renewable energy in its capacity mix by 2030 to achieve the state's goal of becoming a regional powerhouse. Now, the government of Sarawak is planning to revamp and rebuild villages in SARIKEI based on the development concept of the Darul Hana housing area in Kuching. Deputy Minister of Natural Resources and Urban Development, Dato' Len Talif Saleh, said the plan is to improve the welfare of residents in SARIKEI and to close the development gap between urban and rural areas.
Len Talif said the plan, which was submitted to the State Secretary and the Premier of Sarawak under the 12th Malaysian Development Plan or 12 MP, has already been approved.
Dan dari segi asasnya sudah dipersetujui dan diletakkan di bawah bidang kuasa LCDA untuk membangunkan kawasan yang telah dikenal pasti di Terbuk yang melibatkan kawasan lebih kurang 500 ekar. Jadi kita menggunakan pendekatan ini supaya kita dapat melihat ataupun mengenal pasti cabaran-cabaran yang terdapat dan kita melaksanakan ataupun memindahkan penduduk-penduduk yang terlibat nanti. Jadi ini merupakan satu pendekatan bottom up dan yang melibatkan tuan residen, Tuan Besar LCDA dan juga ketua masyarakat dan ketua kaum dan juga konselor.
He said this after officiating a workshop on the proposed development project for villages in SARIKEI, organized by the Land Custody and Development Authority, or LCDA, and the Residence Office at the SARIKEI Innovation Center, SIC, on Wednesday. The organization is in line with the state's aspiration to use a people-oriented and inclusive approach in the development master plan for rural folks, such as in SARIKEI.
Kerana Darul Hana merupakan satu pendekatan yang baru, iaitu urban renewal. Kalau kita lihat dari segi apa yang telah ditekankan oleh Yang Berhormat Premier kita, ialah untuk keselesaan rakyat. Dalam kita post-COVID ini, kita memberi penekanan kepada economic activities. Kedua ialah social insecurity dan ketiga ialah kelesian alam sekitar. Jadi bermakna dalam kita memastikan kelesian alam sekitar ini penempatan semula kampung-kampung yang sudah begitu usang, yang macam di SARIKEI ini sudah berusia sampai 100 tahun. Jadi bermakna jumlah penduduk akan bertambah.
Len Talif added that the proposed new housing area is not only more comfortable, but also equipped with various basic facilities such as roads and clean water supply. The 2-day program is an early step in the government's effort to collect information, views, and aspirations covering aspects of infrastructure, social, and economic development from workshop participants.
Welcome back. The Communications and Multimedia Ministry is always vigilant and focuses on improving communication services through the implementation of the National Digital Network or JENDELA to address internet access issues, including in Sarawak. Deputy Communications and Multimedia Minister Dato' Zahidi Zainul Abidin said the percentage of 4G network coverage in populated areas in Sarawak has increased to 82.86% in the fourth quarter of 2021, compared with 73.67% before the implementation of Jendela initiative in the second quarter of 2020.
Zahidi Zainal said 4G broadband coverage in Baram has increased to 34.12% in the fourth quarter of 2021, compared with 25.97% before the implementation of Jendela. He said for the same period, the network's coverage in the Betong parliamentary constituency has also increased to 78.65%, Hulu Rajang 18.31%, and Serian 78.75%. Zahidi said a total of 105 locations were installed with satellite broadband, including 100 locations in the longhouses in the Hulu Rajang parliamentary constituency. He said the construction of 60 new towers in Hulu Rajang had already started and was expected to be completed in stages from the fourth quarter of 2022 to the third quarter of 2023. For the installation of community Wi-Fi in Hulu Rajang, there are 3 community Wi-Fi locations provided in the longhouses, namely Kampung Umadaro, Kampung Baloi Ukap, and Kampung Sungai Asap. He ensured that the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission, or MCMC, will study the need to continue the community Wi-Fi project or provide other technology broadband in the future.
The temporary postponement of UMRAH trips following the spread of Omicron COVID-19 variant in January affected about 19,000 pilgrims. However, the impact on those who suffered losses was minimal. According to Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Dato Sri Nancy Shukri, the number of pilgrims who had incurred losses due to the postponement was much lower.
She added that those who were incurred losses were those who were unable to get a refund for some of the payments that had been made, while for most of the pilgrims, they were able to make the necessary adjustments. Earlier on January 1st, the government announced the postponement for 1 month beginning January 8. On top of that, the government has also agreed to pay compensation of 1,671 ringgit each to pilgrims who had to cancel their Umrah travel to be credited to the Tabung Haji savings account. Commenting on the compensation, Nancy said the ministry received about 8,500 applications, adding that payments were made based on the prescribed criteria. She said to be eligible to receive the payment, applicants should be using Umrah travel agencies registered with the ministry for trips between January 8 and February 7 and had received travel visas. Nancy also said that the standard operating procedures, or SOP set, were not meant to burden any quarters, but to protect the safety and well-being of the Keluarga Malaysia or Malaysian family. She refuted the allegations that Umrah SOPs kept changing and made life difficult for Muslims, saying the claims were inaccurate.
Now wrapping up the 5 p.m. news, the allegation that the principal debt of One Malaysia Development Berhad has not been paid until now is baseless, as it will only mature between 2022 and 2039. Finance Minister Tengku Dato Sri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz said until the end of February 2022, 1MDB's total debt was 38.8 billion ringgit, comprising 32.3 billion ringgit in principal debt and 6.5 billion ringgit in interest.
Dahnya pula sebanyak 6.5 bilion ringgit. Jadi dakwaan bahawa belum lagi kita bayar prinsipal hutang 1MDB ini adalah tidak berasas, ya. Memandangkan prinsipal hutang-hutang tersebut hanya akan matang lambat lagi.
Adding to that, Tengku Zafrul said 1MDB's principal debt includes 1MDB Energy Limited bonds issued worth 7.35 billion ringgit, 1MDB Energy Langat Limited bonds issued worth 7.35 billion ringgit, 1MDB Global Investment Limited bonds issued worth 12.6 billion ringgit, and 1MDB IMTN Islamic Medium Term Note Sukuk worth 5 billion ringgit. And that concludes the 5 p.m. English news on TVS. With that, I'm Handy Gui. Stay safe and have a pleasant day.